Our final full level of Head-On happens to unlock one last hidden character, so we're going back to Hillbilly Town with Hammerhead. Its driver this time is not a pair of high school dropouts as in previous games. This time it is a dude named Catfish. He is an obsessive hunter. He's collected trophies from just about every dangerous animal on Earth, but he wants to hunt the most dangerous game, man. Not unlike Angel, the mere act of participating in Twisted Metal fulfills his wish, but he wants to actually hunt them with a gun out in the wilderness. So that'll most likely be his ending, however redundant it may be. Can't say I've ever been shy about my dislike of the previous drivers of Hammerhead, but at least they weren't this predictable. Nor were they the same archetype that's been used twice before in the same game, to ill effect. But anyway, we're returning to Tokyo, this time the rooftops of the very buildings we were driving around the base level of previously. So it's the rooftop level. Every game's gotta have one. We start off in some kind of glass box with no apparent exits, but as we shoot around, the glass falls apart, eventually revealing a bridge that we can use to access other rooftops. Now these two rooftops are the only ones that are attached at the beginning of the level. The rest you need to knock down towers in order to access. There goes one of the towers now. And here's another one in front of us. Accidentally blew one up on the other rooftop. Lucky for us, the AI loves to knock these things over. So the buildings will be attached in no time, even if you don't do anything yourself. They're kind of inconvenient. You cannot ram them down, you have to shoot them with a weapon. Not even the machine gun will work. But back on this central building, there's a little indoor area. It's got our full health refill and the minigame teleporter. Super easy to find, but there's really nowhere to hide in this level. Consists of just a very simple layout with very little drivable ground, and the ensuing battle is often quite short. So Hammerhead's special causes a jet engine to spread out of the back. It also has weird underglow lighting underneath the vehicle that sporadically turns on and off when you have the special activated. It's a bizarre effect. I have no idea what they were going for. But we've seen the attack a few times. It just causes you to boost over to the nearest enemy and smack him for 15 points of damage. Almost identical to Grasshopper's special, except no targeting reticle is required. It just automatically hits the nearest enemy, be they behind you or to the side. Your target does have to be fairly close, but if there's no one within range when you fire it, nothing happens. You don't waste the special or anything. So it's pretty decent, and we've got the upgrade now, which when you hit an enemy, you can now hammer the fire button, deal additional damage. Standard upgrade. It's all very solid, just not terribly interesting because it's so similar to Grasshopper's special. But it is pretty cool to see this gigantic car go flying towards the nearest enemy, and then perch on top of them for a couple of seconds. It's especially hilarious and effective against Cousin Eddie, because you jump like 2 stories in the air to get on top of that thing, and then you grind your wheels against the top hillbilly and kill him pretty quickly, which is useful because that's the hardest hillbilly to get to. That hillbilly on hillbilly violence is good stuff. Mr. Slam is an enemy you do not want to see here. This level is overall pretty easy, but Mr. Slam, if you're seeing him, you're probably getting chucked over the edge a few times. The damage you take for going out of bounds does scale up proportionally for our larger health pool in Hammerhead. So we would take, I think, like 39 damage for falling off the edge. It's a lot. And there's a few more radio towers. They don't unlock anything. They're just kind of fun to destroy. So I've said before that Paris and LA were the only retro levels that appear in this game. That was because I've only played Twisted Metals 1, 2, and Black. But it turns out that in Twisted Metal 3, there appears an Egypt level and a Tokyo level. And the Tokyo level takes place on the rooftops. It almost feels like, with Head-On, they were trying not only to replace Twisted Metal 3, but actually remake it as it currently exists, and show them how they could have done it better had they been given the opportunity. Reeds is kind of arrogant that way. Like they're saying, give me that, I'll show you how it's done. And while I'm getting into baseless speculation, it may even be possible that with Sweet Tooth's ending, where he becomes the new Calypso, they could have been setting up their plans to remake Twisted Metal 4 next. Hard to say, since Head-On didn't sell well enough to warrant any continuation, but there are definitely ways they could have taken the series besides a full reboot. And this is the point of the level that is actually important. If you're down to just one enemy, and you're sure you can finish them off with no real problem, you want to do a few laps around the level and collect a bunch of weapons. I haven't mentioned it before, but your inventory sticks with you between levels. So you want to have a lot of weapons going into the final challenge of Head-On, because it is very, very challenging. So this is where you want to stock up, get a ton of weapons if you plan to continue, which I do not. I intend instead to leap off the edge of the building back down to the Tokyo streets, because that is where the game's final confrontation will take place in a future video. Just be aware that as simple and easy as the Rooftops level is, you really don't want to rush through it. You want to take your time and finish off with a full stockade of weapons and upgrades. But that'll be someone else's problem. Catfish's problems are over, and now he gets to have his murderous wish.
Congratulations, Catfish. You've beaten the odds and emerged victorious in this year's Twisted Metal. You may claim your prize.
Woo, thank you, buddy. Seems to me I've shot everything worth killing. For my prize, I want you to make it, so I can track the last big game worth hunting. People.
Wait a minute. What were you doing out there in my contest? Hunting fluffy bunnies? It seems to me that you were not only hunting people, people were hunting you.
No, man, that ain't what I'm talking about. What we did out there, that's different. And that ain't what I'm asking for. I'm wanting one-on-one. Hiding in the bush. Just you and your best rifle against some real mean son of a gun. Some soon-to-be hanging in your hallway animal.
I see. Very well. Brent.
Yeah. Come here, you. Too easy. What's going on here? That ain't no fearsome prey. Calypso screwed up, I told you. Wait a minute. That's a decoy!
Good work there on that decoy move, Zeke.
Calypso?
Okay, Zeke. Let's tie this butte to the hood and head on outta here.
Finally, someone name-dropped the title of the game, in some particularly stilted dialogue from Calypso. That ending basically turned out the same as Warthogs, where the Wisher inadvertently put themselves at odds with Calypso. If only those drivers knew that he was a drug lord by day and a human hunter with his buddy Zeke on the weekends. This ending had a better payoff at least. Catfish's mounted head made for a grisly and hideous image to go out on. Now there's still a final boss, the remaining minigames, and even more secret bonus content to wring out of this Let's Play. We'll be getting to all of that very soon, but for now, let's head on out of here.